We got the green bars moving. Everything's good. I've got the app on my phone. Good for me. 2 links down below in the description box. The first one about Kevin Nash's rant on Logan Paul as to why he's not one of the boys. And then over here, we have a Logan Paul video describing one of the lowest points in his life when The Rock had blacklisted him and told Logan Paul to remove all pictures, videos, anything of them being together due to that stuff that he had done in Japan a long time ago. So, I'm not going to read it word for word. There's also down here in the first link the video response on Twitter X of Logan Paul responding to Kevin Nash. So this all started when Logan Paul essentially was on his own show and he didn't really know what a shoot was. Like the term a shoot in professional wrestling. So you have a shoot, you have a work. A work is scripted. It's kayfabe, right? A shoot would be the Montreal Screwjob. Perfect epitome of an example of a shoot. Because you get shot with something that wasn't supposed to happen and it ends up being real life. Okay? Is that funny? Sure. But then Kevin Nash goes on, and just so we're clear, I'm defending Logan Paul, and Logan Paul was a guy who had probably one of the biggest haters he had ever not met before, because who the hell am I? And I'm over here. Used to think he was the biggest clown, but he's changed over the years. He's humble. That's just my opinion, my perspective on things. Basically, on his Click This podcast, Kevin Nash just ripped into Logan Paul saying, where would he learn that shit yet? Where's he going up and down the road? Talking our jargon. I guess that means like our lingo or whatever. Is he in the building? Everybody's in their own damn motor coach. There's no interaction. There's no socialization. You don't become one of the boys just because you're effing around them. That bastard, from what I've heard, is making like $5 million for effing limited dates. And those other people are making house shows. And they're not getting $5 million. F you. So basically, Logan Paul went on a bit of a heel, whatever you want to call it, and he promoted on him for a minute. And it was just really good. He's like, I'm just better at your job than you ever were, blah, blah, blah. And he puts here, not a work, okay? Here's my thing. Oh, and there's a comment down here somewhere that's actually a good comment that I highlighted. If I could find it. Hold on a second. As I paused it, I found it. A person goes here, and I quote, while I'm a fan of Logan and what he's able to do with his limited experience, Nash isn't wrong here. Logan isn't on the road piling 4 to 5 guys in a car, making the town, splitting hotel rooms, hanging out in the back before their match, etc. He's an attraction. Okay, I get what that person's saying, but the wrestling business is also a lot different now. I remember when Stone Cold Steve Austin was talking about being so broke and needing the carbs and the energy to wrestle that he would like eat raw potatoes like they were an apple just to get all those like carbs in and stuff like that because he couldn't afford like a steak, for example. And that is true. Back in the day, wrestlers were making peanuts. Now, if you're a special attraction, you're a main attraction, you're getting potentially a lot of money. Look at Roman Reigns, one of the longest reigning champs in the history of WWE. And he had a very limited schedule, okay? Now, was he hanging out in the back? Maybe, but just because he's not socializing and he's got other stuff to do, he's got his prime business. Not bad for a former hater to be really praising Logan Paul, because I feel like he deserves to be praised where he should be. Just like anybody else, nobody gets the special treatment. And I've been a longer fan of Kevin Nash than before this guy was even born. I didn't even exist when I was a fan of Kevin Nash. Or maybe he did and he was like 3 or 4, but you get my point. That doesn't make you a bad person. That doesn't deserve to be lashed out against because you're not hanging out in the back. I'm the kind of person, I'd like to think, If I was a part of the WWE universe and I was a wrestler, I was a commentator, whatever, I'd like to think if people wanted me around, I would be one of those people that would want to maybe have a travel buddy, hang out, get to know people personally that you're putting your life in their hands when you're wrestling them. But if you don't do that, that doesn't make you a bad person. You're still a part of that family. He's still delivering. He's employed. Whatever contract he's got, just like when Brock Lesnar was a very infrequent attraction. I just don't understand all the hate that he's getting. And then in this video here, what's really amazing was when The Rock, like I said, blacklisted him, and it struck a nerve with The Rock when he did that thing in Japan with the people that had offed themselves. Because in case you didn't know, The Rock's mother almost attempted, I can't say the word because a lot of times it can do some stuff to your channel, but she almost offed herself, and The Rock prevented that. So it hit home for him. I've suffered through that, but I just thought he was being a goof, which is actually where a lot of my hate came from towards him. It's because you just, at least for me, never really heard good things about him. And then he comes into WWE, and at first I was rolling my eyes. Then I watched how good he was, how he seems to be respecting people backstage, how he seems to be respected. He's always on time. He's not a loose cannon kind of thing. Just gifted. I'm having a hard time finding the words. So ultimately, in the end, for like the 2 or 3 people that might give a crap, I don't hate Kevin Nash. He's allowed to have whatever opinion he wants. My opinion is that he's wrong. He suffered a devastating loss recently with his son dead. So I don't know if he's just going through some stuff and he's just lashing out. He's not just looking for clout. He's got his own show, or podcast rather, which is a show. He's doing well. I honestly don't understand the hate. You can not like him. There's no rule that says you can't like somebody. I'm saying I don't understand it based on looking at his character, him showing vulnerability, him being quite emotional and admitting to being stupid and wanting to do everything possible to fix that. And how The Rock ended up reaching out to him long after, when he was in South Africa, and a monkey stole his prime drink out of his bag, and The Rock texted him, but he wasn't able to reply back to him. He didn't know what to say. So that's good news for Logan Paul. If he was a real pompous ass narcissistic POS, he wouldn't be displaying this kind of behavior. So this interview, which is fairly new, by the way, but he's made similar ones in the past when he was talking on his own podcast, actually, with John Cena. And I think The Undertaker was there. I could be wrong, but I know John Cena was there. John Cena's been quite frequent on Logan Paul's podcast, Impulsive. Like I said, it just really made me go, wow. One of his biggest haters, now I'm one of his absolute biggest admirers, and it's hard for me to not admire as well somebody who's literally living the life I wish I could live. I've always wanted to have a lot of money, naturally, but have to work hard for it. He did it. He's got a brand. I wish I had one. Not necessarily like a drink, but just I always wanted to have something for multiple streams of income. He's got that. Then when YouTube came out, it took me almost 20 years before I decided, you know what, let me try something. And then I've got, like I said, my main channel, which is on video games and cringe comedy, where I do Batman impressions sometimes. And it's going so-so. Not really that great, but it pays a couple $100 a month here and there. He became super successful at that. I've always dreamt of being in the world of professional wrestling, whether it was being a manager like Bobby the Brain Heenan, whether it was being a commentator like Jesse the Body Ventura, or Gorilla Monsoon, or anybody else like a Michael Cole for people that are more familiar with the more recent people in the last few decades, or being one of those people inside the ring like a Bret the Hitman Hart, like a Macho Man Randy Savage. etc., etc. I always wanted to do something. I wanted to be a part of that life. All of these things I've wanted to do, I'm either doing them or they didn't amount to shit, or I just didn't know and wasn't able to, or just didn't have what it took to do any of those things I wanted to do. He's literally capitalized on every single thing I wish I could have. But don't get it twisted. Me admitting that doesn't mean that I was even jealous or envious of him in the past. It was legitimately because of him as a character. Now, like I said, come full circle, completely different person. I'm like literally I'm baffled. That's part of the reason I'm making this video is I'm completely just not understanding. Not everybody's gonna have the same personality type, like I said. It's like I used to work in a restaurant. Good for me. And like when the bar was closed, I didn't always want to hang out afterwards. So what? Now I'm not a part of the crew that works at that bar because I didn't always at close want to have a cigar and a drink after work. No, I'd been there for hours. I was a bouncer. I was done, mentally drained at the end of the night. Plus I had a full-time job before that on top of that. I needed to just get home and relax, have some downtime to myself. But sure, once in a while I'd hang out with some of the bartenders or whatever after work, just to kind of, it's nice to sometimes get to know the people that you work with, like I said earlier in the beginning. But it doesn't make you a jackass if you're not into that. So I really just don't get where he's coming from at all. Like, why is this coming out? I don't know. I don't get it. So there you go. I made a video about me just not understanding why he's lashing out at Logan Paul. Let me know down below what you think on this whole situation. Thumbs up as always if you liked the video. It does greatly help support the channel with the algorithm and trying to make me more relevant in the search results. Thumbs down if you didn't like it, and I'll bend it in half, twist it, and I'll break that microphone off inside of your ass at the big end. You're not getting that tip. You're ready for this one now. You're upgraded. Okay? You've been promoted. Anyways, if you want to subscribe, naturally that would be great. But if not, thanks for stopping by anyways. Take care. And if I'm lucky, maybe I'll see some of you in the next one. Bye for now.